Welcome to Innovation Pulse, your quick, no-nonsense update covering the latest in startups and entrepreneurship news. Scale AI is attracting Meta's interest for a potential $15 billion investment, while Coco Robotics secures $80 million in funding, advancing urban delivery tech. After this, we delve deeper into the intriguing balance between reinvention and reuse in tech innovation. Scale AI is a data labeling and annotation startup founded in 2016 that has become a key player in the generative AI era. Its core service involves helping tech giants like OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft prepare data to train advanced AI models. The startup caught Meta's attention, prompting a potential investment of up to $15 billion for a 49% stake, as Meta aims to enhance its AI capabilities. Scale AI is unique due to its expertise in data preparation for AI models, a critical step for any AI development process. This expertise has led to collaborations with major tech companies and government entities, like the U.S. Department of Defense. Additionally, Scale AI's collaboration with Meta on Defense Llama, an AI model for national security, underscores its strategic importance. The startup's value lies in its ability to simplify complex data processes for AI training, making it indispensable for companies aiming to develop cutting-edge AI solutions. Meta's investment signifies a strategic move to bolster its AI ambitions by leveraging Scale AI's expertise, especially given its recent challenges in the AI domain. Coco Robotics, officially known as Cyan Robotics Inc., has secured $80 million in new funding, with significant backing from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. This brings their total fundraising to over $110 million. Established in 2020, Coco Robotics operates a fleet of approximately 1,300 electric delivery robots across cities like Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Helsinki. The company's robots are cooler-sized and designed to navigate urban environments, enhancing food delivery services. Coco Robotics has formed strategic partnerships with major players like DoorDash and Uber Eats and is also collaborating directly with merchants. A notable alliance with OpenAI allows Coco to integrate advanced navigation technology, enabling its robots to efficiently maneuver around obstacles and make real-time decisions. The data shared with OpenAI helps refine urban delivery logistics, providing a unique edge in robot-assisted deliveries. This combination of cutting-edge technology and strategic partnerships positions Coco Robotics as a valuable innovator in urban delivery solutions, offering an efficient, scalable, and tech-driven alternative to traditional delivery methods. And now, pivot our discussion towards the main entrepreneurship topic.
All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive on Innovation Pulse. I'm Donna, and as always, I've got my co-host Yakov Lasker here with me. Today, we're tackling something that might make some of you engineers and builders out there squirm a little bit in your seats.
Oh, this should be good. Lay it on me, Donna.
We're talking about one of the most sacred pieces of advice in tech and engineering. Don't reinvent the wheel. And I've got to tell you, Yakov, I'm starting to think this advice might actually be doing more harm than good.
Wait, hold up. Are you seriously about to argue that we should be reinventing wheels left and right? Because I've seen what happens when junior developers decide they're going to build their own JavaScript framework instead of using React.
Exactly. See, you just proved my point. You immediately went to that defensive place that so many of us go to. But here's the thing. Think about who typically gives this advice. It's usually people who either tried to build something themselves and know how brutally hard it is, or people who never tried at all and are just repeating what they've heard.
Okay, I'm listening. But you've got to admit, there's wisdom in not wasting time rebuilding something that already works perfectly well.
But does it work perfectly well? Think about it this way. We've had wheels for over 6,000 years, since around 4500 BCE. If everyone had followed the "don't reinvent the wheel" advice, we'd still be rolling around on solid wooden discs. We wouldn't have pneumatic tires, we wouldn't have ball bearings, we wouldn't have any of the incredible wheel innovations that make modern transportation possible.
That's actually a fascinating point. The wheel itself has been reinvented countless times across different civilizations and cultures, and each reinvention brought something new to the table.
Exactly! And here's where it gets really interesting for us in the tech world. Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize winning physicist, had this incredible quote: "What I cannot create, I do not understand." Think about what that means for a second.
So you're saying that to truly understand something on a fundamental level, you need to be able to build it yourself. Even if it's just a toy version?
Bingo! And this is where I think we've been doing ourselves a huge disservice. In computer science, we treat so many things like they're beyond the reach of mere mortals: protocols, cryptography, web servers. But here's the secret: humans, just like us, created all of these things. They're not perfect, and we can absolutely make different trade offs in our own designs.
You know what? I'm starting to see where you're going with this. I remember when I first tried to implement my own simple HTTP server just to understand how they work. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. But I learned more about networking in those 2 weeks than I had in years of just using existing servers.
Yes! And that's the beautiful thing about going down these rabbit holes. Even something as seemingly simple as a string or a file path turns out to have infinite complexity when you really dig into it. You start to appreciate just how many decisions and trade-offs went into the tools we use every day.
Right. And that leads me to something I've noticed. When you're building something from scratch, you're forced to make decisions about correctness versus simplicity, functionality versus performance, scalability versus resource usage. You can't optimize for everything.
And that's the humbling experience right there. Building something that even one other person finds useful is incredibly difficult, but it also shows you that existing solutions aren't perfect either. They were designed with specific constraints and use cases in mind, and they might not be the best fit for your particular problem.
So what are some good reasons to reinvent the wheel? I mean, beyond just learning how wheels work.
Oh, there are so many. You might want to build a better wheel for some specific definition of better. Maybe you need to teach others about wheels, or learn about the inventors who came before you. Maybe you want to be able to fix wheels when they break, or you're helping someone who needs a very specialized wheel.
Like a wheelchair wheel versus a car wheel versus a skateboard wheel. They're all wheels, but they solve completely different problems.
Exactly! And here's something really cool. Maybe you fail at building a better wheel, but along the way, you discover a better way to test wheels. Or maybe your wheel isn't even meant for transportation at all. You might end up with a potter's wheel, or a steering wheel, or a flywheel. Innovation often comes from thinking outside the box like this.
This reminds me of how so many great discoveries happened by accident. People set out to solve one problem and ended up solving a completely different one.
Right! And in software especially, running little experiments is cheap and quick. You can solve your own problem, start small, keep it simple, and iterate. The key is not to give up before you have a working version of what you're trying to explore.
But we should probably add a caveat here, right? We're not saying to ignore the work of others or reinvent things out of pure stubbornness or ignorance.
Absolutely. Study the work that came before you, understand why decisions were made the way they were. Reuse where it makes sense. But don't let the fear of reinventing stop you from exploring and learning.
So what's the balance then? When should you reinvent versus when should you reuse?
I love this framework: reinvent for insight, reuse for impact. If your goal is to learn and understand something deeply, go ahead and build your own version. Get your hands dirty, make mistakes, learn from them. But if your goal is to ship something that actually helps people, then by all means, stand on the shoulders of giants and use the best tools available.
That's brilliant. So reinventing isn't about replacing existing solutions. It's about understanding them well enough to know when and how to use them effectively.
Exactly! And think about it this way: if you never test your knowledge by trying to implement something yourself, how would you ever learn enough about your field to advance it? The people who push industries forward are often the ones who understand the fundamentals deeply enough to see new possibilities.
You know what this reminds me of? The best senior engineers I know aren't the ones who memorize every API and framework. They're the ones who understand the underlying principles well enough to adapt to new technologies and make smart architectural decisions.
Yes, because when you understand how something works at a fundamental level, you can debug it when it breaks, modify it when your needs change, and recognize when it's the wrong tool for the job. You become a more thoughtful and effective engineer.
So for our listeners who are maybe feeling inspired to go reinvent some wheels, what would you recommend as a good starting point?
Start with something you use every day, but don't fully understand. Maybe it's how your text editor saves files, or how your web browser renders HTML, or how your phone connects to Wi-Fi. Pick something that genuinely interests you, not something you think you should learn.
And remember, the goal isn't to build the next great commercial product. It's to build understanding. Your implementation can be messy, incomplete, and full of bugs. That's totally fine. You can throw it away when you're done learning from it.
The beautiful thing is that in our field, experimentation is relatively cheap. You're not dealing with physical materials or manufacturing costs. You can afford to try things, fail, learn, and try again.
And who knows? Maybe along the way you'll discover something that nobody else has thought of. Or maybe you'll just become a better engineer who makes more informed decisions about when to use existing tools and when to build something new.
The key insight here is that curiosity and exploration shouldn't be discouraged. We need more people who are willing to dig deep, ask questions, and challenge assumptions. That's how industries evolve and improve.
So maybe it's time to retire that old advice about not reinventing the wheel, or at least add some important context to it.
I couldn't agree more. The next time someone tells you not to reinvent the wheel, maybe ask them, "But how else will I learn how wheels work?" Sometimes the best way to appreciate existing solutions is to understand the problems they solve.
And remember, every breakthrough innovation in history started with someone deciding to reinvent something that already existed. They just made it better, different, or more suitable for a new context.
So here's our challenge for everyone listening. Pick something you use every day, but don't fully understand. Spend a weekend trying to build a simple version of it. You might be surprised by what you learn, not just about the technology, but about yourself as a problem solver.
Whether you're a seasoned engineer or just starting out, there's always something new to discover when you roll up your sleeves and start building. The wheel has been around for 6,000 years, and we're still finding new ways to improve it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the art and science of reinventing wheels. Remember, reinvent for insight, reuse for impact. Until next time, keep innovating.
And keep those wheels turning, everyone. We'll see you next episode on Innovation Pulse. As we wrap up today's podcast, we've delved into Scale AI's pivotal role in data preparation for AI giants and Coco Robotics' advancements in urban delivery, alongside a discussion on balancing innovation with practicality in tech. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends and colleagues so they can also stay updated on the latest news and gain powerful insights. Stay tuned for more updates.